G'day traders, we're going to wrap up of Thursday the 20th of September. So on the daily chart here, again these buyers coming back strong. I'll bring up a 15-minute chart in a second, but we started to break down. You can sort of see it here, even in this longer term chart, that we popped down, made a bit of a low and started to break through and possibly start hitting some of those sell orders and trigger just a little bit of retracement, even though we're in a buyer's market. Maybe a retracement back to sort of here where they find support again. But in the end, the buyers started coming back fairly strongly. So just to show you a little bit more of a closer view of that. So this is what we've been looking at each day with the 15-minute chart here. So basically, it's squashed up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days there, 6. So we can see, nearly 2 weeks of data, but you can see for the definitely last 3.5 or so days, really sticking within this 10-point range. And what happens is when the market gets outside of these range, it triggers a whole heap of, for example, down here, whole heap of sell orders and that's that in effect creates a bit of a sell-off, and away they go. So if you see them breaking sort of a significant trading area, and you see the market sort of gapping, so for example, the market closed up here the previous day, then opens the next day, that's quite a decent gap. If you see that gap and breaking significant area, normally you'll see a bit of a decent sell-off. So we started to get that, but just didn't continue on with it like you normally expect it to. I guess that's a significant of these buyers and how strong they are. We've also got a fairly decent trend line here, which I drew in basically between this point and this point here, but then we've really, from using it as resistance, used it as support quite a few times. So it's quite a significant area, and that's bounced off, right off the trend line quite a few times. So an opportunity for it to go down there. Certainly keeping that, and saw that in the morning, and suspected we could head down for a little bit. But again, just got to be wary of these buyers, and they'll bounce it straight back up to the top of this range again at the moment. So just have a closer look, and with that in mind, 5-minute chart. So sort of a good little gauge is you draw a bit of a line here. There's the pre-market, sort of bottom of the pre-market. You can see we come up as soon as the market opened. We pushed down really hard. So that's that sort of going with the gap, triggering a few of those sellers. But then the buyers just came straight back and sort of shoved out whatever the sellers were trying to do, and again gained some control. But if it was more of a balanced market, I think we would have seen a lot more sellers come in here. I've got a volume chart here too. Also, if you see this sort of move with an increased volume, I mean, obviously there's always going to be higher volume right at the start of the day. That's just natural. But if you see a couple of 100,000 volume bars on this 5-minute chart, that's real significant volume. So this is, even though it's increased in the morning here, it's nothing more than what's normally there. So I wouldn't call it sustained greater than average volume by any means at this stage. But they tried to sell off, but just didn't quite get there. Buyers brought them straight back. This bit of a move here came from a 10 o'clock news announcement. Obviously liked what they saw. They've come back to the top of the range again, sort of come back and tested this bottom area, and then from there that's where they've really taken off, and that was sort of the last of the sellers and their chance to go lower. From there, the market's pushed through. We've got a bit of a 5-minute fade. This one's breaking the high, so it's a difficult one, but going with the overall market and the fact it's coming back, bouncing off the top of where it previously broke from, it's a pretty good chance of holding and going higher. From there, it's made another high. Again, it's come back within the range. It's not able to break down. Again, a signal of how strong these buyers are. If this was a more balanced market, and you see all the other markets breaking down at this point here, or even say from when it pops up here, it's a good chance it can start selling off and breaking through these pivots again, and see the market go back into its range and possibly have a go at the lows. You quite often see something like that happen, but in this particular case, these pivotal points keep on holding, and you can see the buyers keep on coming back, and a couple of 5-minute buying areas working there, and to where we just kept on gradually pushing up without any sort of significant pullback for the rest of the afternoon. And then now we go through the pre-market, and we're still just grinding our way upwards, and again these buyers just strangling any sort of seller, any sort of sellers that are trying to come in, and the buyers coming in and dominating like they have done for the last couple of weeks. So that's a wrap up for Thursday. We're back Friday.